Well, guys, I think it's going to be a small dinner party, which is fine. Just to introduce Karla to you. Karla, as you may have seen from some of the emails or the publications that we did, she's the owner, the president of GPS Career and Business Strategies. She's got a ton of experience, years of experience in the human resource area in the corporate world, and she wants to share some interesting, profits, as we titled it, strategies. And I guess, Karla, I think it's, like I said, it's a casual dinner party, so I'll let you take over and introduce yourself even better, rather, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Again, thank you for the opportunity, Patrick.
Sure.
It's been a joy knowing you all along. Just you are the master connector. And I know your drive, so you are working in your drive, and you'll hear more about drive. But Jay and James, I wanted to just really talk. Jay, I have a question for you. What's your business? I know that Patrick mentioned that you were looking at investing in the States. What do you have another business, or is that your primary business?
No, I am looking to invest in US in commercial properties.
Okay. And what's your background in terms of your career and employment background?
Okay, so I'm working as a business consultant.
Okay.
So working on designing new processes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I love it. So what I want to talk a little bit about, both of you and Patrick, we're always selling. People might not think, oh, this is my business, but I want to really talk about in terms of the focus on knowing your prospect, right? And even if your prospect could be your significant other, we're always selling. We may not admit it, but I want to talk to you about the predictability of sales. Now, I'm going to ask you, whether it's a notepad in your phone or a piece of paper, I'm going to ask you to just make sure that's ready, because I'm going to ask, a couple of numbers here. So if you could pick a number between 1 and 10, write down that number. I'm going to ask you to double that number. Please add 6 to that number. I want you to half that number. Subtract your original number. Now, on the count of 2, I want you to say your number. 1, 2,
3.
Perfect. Now, we all started from different points, right? But we all came up with the number 3. So sales is a process, it's a system, right? And what the goal here is to stack the odds in your favor, right? So I want to begin with a story. So one day, 2 friends went for a drive, right? Well, they were Art and Walt. And Walt is sharing with Art, look at this land, look at the possibilities, right? And Walt says, I want you to buy the surrounding land. It will double your money. Now that land happened to be located in Anaheim, California. Art is like, there's nothing here. Why would I do that? Right? That land turned out to be in California, where Disneyland is right now. The Fujii family, a Japanese family, ended up buying that land in the 1960s for $2,500, and they sold it to Disney for $100 million in 1998. Now, I'm going to ask you, whose fault was it that Art lost out on the opportunity? Was it Art's fault? Was it Walt's fault? Well, most people would say, well, Walt gave him the opportunity, Art just didn't take it, right? What I'm going to submit to you is that it was Walt's fault. He did not speak the buying language of Art, right? So what I'm going to talk about today is what drives buying behavior, right? And just a little bit about me. Patrick did talk a little bit about my background. So I'm the principal owner of GPS Career and Business Strategies. We provide career and HR services to individuals and small businesses. I'm a native New Yorker, first generation New Yorker, daughter of an immigrant and an entrepreneur. undergraduate degree from City University, New York, 31 years of human resources management experience. I also partner with my husband as licensed real estate practitioners and investors to provide quality services to our customers. I grew up in the business. My dad owned and operated parking lots back in the day in New York City. While I was in college, I worked in the business. My brothers and my cousins worked in the business. So that was always part of what we did. Several certifications in HR and real estate. And my story, right? How, I'm talking to real estate investors. How did I become? That's my family, my immediate family, my husband and my two sons up in the right-hand corner. I mentioned that I'm a daughter of an immigrant. My mother's from Costa Rica. And yes, even though I was brought up with that hard work ethic, immigrant, but I saw my parents struggle also, right? That's my father. He's passed away up in the middle where my oldest son graduated from Georgetown University, with my mom, my sister. And I saw, I knew I wanted to help people, right? My mother was a registered nurse. And my thing is I wanted to enter into human resources to help people. I love doing that. And one of the best ways to help people is really that economic development, right? In terms of real estate. So and my husband and I have been married in September, be 33 years. And the past 20 years, we've been licensed. We owned a mortgage brokerage before that. So it's always been surrounding real estate. So I have an assessment for each of you to participate in today, right? And you'll see one of my favorite words is synergy and integration. So really marrying my human resources and career development background to that real estate side and that entrepreneurship side, this is one of my favorite assessment tools. So what I want each of you to do is read each card first, right? Each of the words on those cards. Rank those cards based on the card with the most words that makes you feel important, not what's important to you. Your families may be important to you, your jobs, how you earn a living, but what gives you joy when you look at the words on those cards. So I'm going to give you a minute, look at each card, and then you're going to identify the letter on the top of each card in rank order. And we can actually, to collapse timeframes, I'm going to ask you to pick the top 2 cards, right? So is everyone clear on the instructions?
Yes. Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll give you a minute to
Okay.
do that. And I'll play some music. Oh, maybe not. Anyone need more time?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it, James.
So we need to type in or?
Oh, no, as long as you know what it is, your top 2 letters. I just want to make sure you have the time and you see the words on there.
Okay.
Patrick, you're ready?
Yep, I'm all set. I've got my 2
Jay?
letters.
Jay,
Yeah.
you have 2 letters? How about you, James?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So in terms of this is the drive system. Drive is an acronym, right? The D is for director. The R is for relator. The I is for intellectual. The V is for validator. And the E is for executive. And what this assessment tool, I'm Myers-Briggs certified, Career Direct certified. Why I love this, it really goes into why you buy something, right? And it's important that we know for ourselves, but it's even more important when we're interacting with our prospects. So I'm going to begin with D. So I'm going to get each of your letters. Patrick.
Mine was E followed by D.
Great. Okay. And J?
I and D.
I and D. And James?
R was my top one, and then I think it was E.
James, you and I have the same profile here. All right, so I'm going to go over the meaning of each one. Now, the first letter indicates why you buy something, your big why. I mean, all of you appear to be seasoned business people. So it's like the why, right? And the second letter indicates how you go about making those decisions, right? So I'm going to begin with the director. The director is motivated, the D in the drive is motivated by that enhanced lifestyle. They have a clear vision of financial time and freedom in that VIP experience. My husband is a D, right? And a lot of times people are like, oh, Karla, how could you tell? That's why this is self-assessment, right? We don't know what gives you joy. So it's really important for you to identify that, right? So he loves travel. He loves that VIP experience. So he's a director. Now, a relator, right? A relator, both James and I are relators, right? Our why is legacy, consulting with others, human resources, right? In terms of family influence and giving back, right? That's my why, right? Intellectual, Jay is an intellectual. My husband's secondary drive is an intellectual. So he is very detailed of his how. That's what people tend to see, right? And step-by-step actions, that's what you're motivated by. Efficiency. Like I've asked, Patrick asked the question, I asked the question, and Jay's like, I'm looking. Jay wants all of the facts before he commits to what he's doing. It needs to be laid out, right? So when you are in, what I've learned when interacting with an intellectual, it's details. They need to have all of the details. So in your respective businesses, if you are selling to someone that needs the details and you are trying to do a quick close, you're going to be very frustrated, right? Because they want to find the data, they want to make it make sense for themselves and proceed. So when you know that, right, we only have control over ourselves and barely that, right? So when you know that, you give them your websites, you give them your, any type of manuals or and give them time to figure it out. So that's the intellectual. The validators, right? Validators are motivated by attention and focus. They like the trophies. Now, I want to be clear that they're also great at giving validation. These are your people that are your ride and die. I have two sons, both of them are validators, right? So, but they're different on their how, right? So, but I noticed just in terms of they like that sort of attention. And one is an executive in terms of his how, and the other one is a director. So it's really different in terms of how you interact with them. And my oldest son's longtime girlfriend, her secondary drive is a validator. And now I understand why that's his long-term girlfriend, because she turns on validation. I never saw anything like that. And she's also a school teacher. So it's great for the kids, but it also feeds into my oldest son who loves that validation, right? Speaking his language. And the final letter in drive is the executive, right? Executives are driven by, they want proof, they want bottom line, they speak in bullets. My secondary drive is executive, right? I've probably supervised over 100 people directly or through subordinate supervisors. God in his infinite wisdom has surrounded me with intellectuals, right? So I benefit from that, but I tend to communicate in bullets and bottom line, and I look for the bottom line. I'll give you a quick story. So my mother's from Costa Rica, but my Spanish is very poor. So I'm always challenged by, lessons and look at goals. That's my goal. And I got a Facebook ad that said, oh, learn to speak Spanish, and the proceeds of those lessons that you participate in will go to help women in Mexico who were displaced because of the pandemic. That's a slam dunk for me. I know what my goals are, right? And then I get to help people at the same time. I would rather give that money to the women in Mexico that were displaced than to Rosetta Stone, right? So again, just knowing the drive. Any questions as I went through the drive? Comments?
Just want to listen more and then maybe a question.
Okay, very good. So as I see each of you, so again, Patrick, that executive, the why is bottom line success. You know, that's what you're looking for. And how you do it, right, is you really are motivated by the way people do their thing, right? You're not, it's like, oh, Karla has this, James has that, Jay has that, boom, how can we help them reach their goals, right? But you're not constricting in any way. You are allowing people to behave and really express themselves. So that's the way I look at it. Intellectual, and Jay being an intellectual director, right? Again, I'm not sure if your background was in engineering. Again, I have that career HR side. So I'm a nerd when it comes to how people are designed and what they do. I listen to certain cues. And James as a relator executive. So does any of, in terms of your drives, does anything, what comes up for each of you in terms of the letters that I talked about here?
When you ask what comes, what do you mean exactly? Can you readdress the question?
Oh, sure. Any comments? I mean, do you think does it fit in terms of, do you see that with yourself being an executive director?
In my case, yes. I don't know, Jay, how you sense if Karla's on the money with the description.
Yes, it does.
It does. Interesting.
Okay. And how about you, James?
Yeah, definitely connects.
Very good. So again, directors, just to delve a little bit deeper, directors, they enjoy a good challenge and love to feel free and independent. They thrive on being creative, discovering new things and experiencing life. They are great in social settings, putting together a variety of people and making something happen. They find joy in overcoming obstacles and making a difference in the world. They love travel. They love to go places. They're fun. My husband's again, if I wasn't married to my husband, I don't know how much fun I would. He's just a fun person. I love being around him. Relators, right? They know how to build strong, long-term, healthy relationships. In the workplace, their strength is in networking and building other people up to a higher level of productivity. They garner energy and security through their relationships. They are loyal to their friends and they are service-minded. These are people that are probably volunteering. They want that community, so to speak. We're motivated by community. Intellectuals love systems, right? They're stimulated intellectually either through books, speeches, research, conversations, or organization. Success comes when they accomplish a task. They would rather be learning something new than just lying around. They are driven to understand and to be more knowledgeable. They like to share what they know with others. That's why they need time to learn it, right? And they want to share it. Validators, they enjoy intimate small groups of people where they are being validated. Often they are wonderful at giving validations to others. Their confidence stems from the strength of their relationships. If they feel like they're in a healthy, caring, and trusted relationship, they feel strong, secure, and loved. And executives, they are productive and thrive on getting the job done. They're task-oriented and focused on getting results. They do not like small talk and would prefer tackling a project rather than sitting around wasting time. They're happiest when they are pursuing or achieving a desired goal. So again, to think about it in a snapshot terms, directors are motivated by lifestyle, relators, community, intellectual systems, validators seek to be admired, and executives are looking for proof. Now that story that I talked about, Art and Walt, the Walt was Walt Disney, right? And obviously, if you go to Disney World, Disneyland, you see Toontowns, you see all this and all these fun things. When my children were little, my husband loved Disneyland. Like that did not speak to me. I went because I support my people, right? But that was not fun for me, right? Now, Art was Art Linkletter. He was the man in the 1950s, right? He had a radio show. He had the TV show Kids Say the Darndest Things. He was seeking, he likes validation and he was getting it. That's why he's like, I'm good. I get people every week watching me, listening to me, and you're showing me empty land. Like, I don't, like, oh, I respect you. And they were best friends, right? I mean, very good friends. Art ended up being the MC at Disneyland when he opened it up. But the thing is now, if Art would have said, oh, could you imagine? There's going to be people from all over the world coming to see Disneyland. How would that have made a difference, right? Because Art is looking for validation from people, and he sees land. And I could tell over my years in both the HR space and property, I never liked facilities management. I was like a contract manager of facilities, but like the people would complain and would never think nothing was ever right. I did not like that. But when you get to participate in having an investor get their fourth property or first time home buyer, I love that, right? I need people attached to what I'm going to do. I don't care about the efficiencies of the systems or the custodial, I don't care, right? So when you know what you care about, or even better, when you know what your prospect cares about, that's when you win. That's what we said, whose fault was it? If you are seeking to move your clients, you need to know their buying language. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So again, you have the potential of increasing your sales, right? The thing is, it's like, in the church, you say, oh, preaching to the choir. Like, yeah, directors talking to other directors, you're talking each other's language. So you're going to get the 20% of directors, right? Relators, right? If you increase to the extent that you can pivot and learn to speak each other's language of your prospects, that's how you increase, and you have a potential of a 400% increase in sales if you learn to speak to those other groups of people. And that's what I've really practiced and developed. And I think having appreciation for people and respecting the differences and knowing how they kind of operate, you learn, right? And we helped one of my brothers get a property last year. I didn't know how much of an intellectual he was, right? He wanted to read literally every single word of the agreement, the sales agreement, the mortgage, everything. Now, you're supposed to read things, right? But literally every word, the boilerplate language, and you can't force them, right? You give them time so you're not frustrated. But that's and when you really look at it, I mentioned that my husband his secondary drive is an intellectual, and my secondary drive is an executive, is polar opposite. Just give me the bullets, but he goes through everything. But that's what makes him great at real estate contracts, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. So I'm a beneficiary of that. But when he tells his stories, I remember he talked about us getting a referral on something and a check came. That's all he went through all this thing. I'm like, oh, we got a check and it's in the bank. That's all I really wanted to know. I didn't need to know anything more, but you learn to appreciate the differences, right? So again, as entrepreneurs, what we're supposed to do is find solutions for our clients, right? Now, what are the challenges for directors when they don't feel free and independent? It's not pretty. They're looking for that, right? If you can help them with that, when they're not pursuing their life's purpose, if they're not experiencing life the way they want, they're frustrated. So we as entrepreneurs seek to help them. Relators, when they feel insecure in their relationships, when they don't have the influence they want, when they're exhausted from giving too much. Intellectuals, when they can't find the information they need, paralysis by analysis, they're just like searching, and when they don't feel organization, they just retreat. Validators, when they're exhausted from serving their teams, feeling disrespected from the people they care about, not feeling recognized for their contribution. My youngest son, who's a college student, he just went back to school today. The thing is, we were rotating, taking care of my father-in-law. And my father-in-law is like back like 89. And my son, who's 21 at the time, he said, he made this great, beautiful breakfast for his papa. And he took a picture, sent it to my husband, myself, And my older son, he's like, look what I made Pop-Up. Then he gave it to Pop-Up, and Pop-Up's like, it's okay, but the eggs were pretty runny. All Bobby needed was some validation. And he really never made a beautiful breakfast for Pop-Up again, because it didn't, that was like a violation, right? So again, just speaking that language and giving people what they need. Executives, when they don't feel in control and they don't feel like they're winning in their life or relationships, so when they're feeling overwhelmed from too many goals, right? That's the challenges for them. You don't want to sell ideas, you sell benefits, right? So when you're selling to a director, you want to make sure, does your product have a wow factor? Is it visually stimulating? Does it make their life engaging? My husband is great at finding deals, VIP, affordable luxury, right? Because he doesn't like spending money, but he'd rather not go any place if it's not going to be nice. We'll just stay home, right? Relators, does your product support their community? I told you the story about the Spanish lessons. Does it connect them with their loved ones? Will it make them look like a leader in their community, right? I like that support. I like creating other leaders, whether it's HR side, real estate side, I love that. Selling to an intellectual, do you have clear step-by-step instructions? Again, that's what I've learned over time. Does it save them time or money? Right? Jay says he wants to invest in the United States. Patrick asked, oh, where? He has to figure it out, right? He's not going to disclose it until he's figured it out, right? And does it make their life easier? Selling to a validator. Oh, this house is going to make you look like the best person on the block. Is going to be decked out, right? Will it bring them positive attention from people? Does it help them serve their teams? Executive, does your product or service give your client more control? Does it help them win, right? Patrick is an executive. He is going to get something if it's going to help him accomplish his goals, right? And does it make it easier to achieve? Because he's busy. So if there's time is money. So if there's some efficiency there, you have a good chance of closing him, right? So the drive, knowing the drive plus selling to their benefits equals the sale, right? Now, what I picked up from here, one of the things, I have a relationship with an educational firm. I've done adjunct professor and all that other kind of stuff. This class, the drive class, the content is about 21 hours of content on drive for sales, drive for communication, drive for development, right? In terms of how do you maximize your own development to sell to others, right? So, and I can't do it justice in 21 hours, but that's the content, that's the foundation. And then there's integrated business growth that's taught by Mark J. Kohler, right? Where it's your strategy plan, your marketing plan, right? Making sure that's integrated. The done deal formula, how do you really start branding yourself? It's taught by Troy Dunn, who these individuals, the practitioner instructors, in order to teach for this firm, you've had to at least make $1 million in your practice. Troy Dunn ended up selling his business to Ancestry.com. He had a locator firm, and for undisclosed amount of money, but he has not spent $1 on marketing because he finds a way to integrate his content into what the media likes, finding people, and yet this locator firm. Social selling, the social media, business automation, an 8-hour class on making sure that you are automating your system, where you're not just being a business owner, where you're not just being self-employed, you are making a business, you are creating an infrastructure and systems in order to have a successful business. Your championship life is really taught by a person that's won 7 times bodybuilding contests, right? And building your business with funnels, day 1 and day 2, Steve Larson. So again, it's just in terms of an entrepreneurial path, the same instructor, the same professor that helped University of Phoenix come up with their online system came up with the P.R.O.F.I.T.S course, right? These are the instructors. Feel free to Google any one of them, right? Ron Williams is the person that I talked about as the 7-time Mr. World Championship builder. Eric Counts has a credit firm, but he is also a business automation specialist. Rob Sperry, who focuses on social media, Christian George on the financial markets. Woody Woodward is the person that developed that drive system. Troy Dunn is the person that ended up selling his, if you do Google him, you'll see he's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, he's been on Dr. Phil, because he's found a way to integrate his content into whether it's podcasting, TV, to make sure that people understand and they want what he has, right? And Mark J. Kohler has an excellent infrastructure in terms of his business. He's both a CPA and an attorney, and his passion is that small business owner, right? So if you sit back and you watch his business, it's amazing. Like he says, he drives people to his website to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, right? He has like 50 people, a 50-person accounting / law firm. Steve Larson building those funnels and making sure people are going through them with the goal of earning profits, right? And again, just each of the ones that I talked about, these are the instructors that focus on the content. Now, in terms of what is done for me in terms of the P.R.O.F.I.T.S course, I was, like I said, I'm a daughter of an immigrant and an entrepreneur. So I've always had different streams of income, but in the past 3 years, taking this course has helped me establish my practice, with Karla in terms of the HR and helping people, right? This gave me the structure to start building that. I also have a couple of colleagues. Teresa's a real estate investor. She's the owner of a retail store and a cultural and wellness center. She says the P.R.O.F.I.T.S course has showed her how to structure her business plans and set a plan to thrive and run her businesses. Ryan, who's also a colleague that lives in California, 6-figure, earns W-2 in fine dining. He's a real estate investor, has probably about 8 properties out there in the Midwest. Also brand wealth artistry. And what I asked him to say, hey, what have you done, right? He's implemented, three things from the drive system: more awareness on himself, communication better with others, sales clarity, and a definition on becoming profitable. Business integration has allowed him to go beyond one source of revenue, hourly one-on-ones, to variety with different price points and monthly subscriptions, specialty instruction packages. So adding those, and business automation has given him insight on how to develop and processes and systems with a clear personal plan of action, right? The cost of the classes, $2,997, gives you lifetime access. And it's actually, they just added those 2 courses. So it's 11 classes for the same amount. And they also have a billing option where it's the entrepreneur courses, live education, right, where they're filming it or videoing, streaming online, downloadable audio, and also you have a learning partner for the same amount of money and lifetime access. And the billing option is, you put $600 down and $174 a month. And also for Jay and James, in terms of the benefit, what we're throwing in also is the weekly study group. One of the things that I love about this program is just being in human resources and training. Training is exposure, right? But I'm experienced enough that I look for behavior changes, right? So in terms of how does that happen? My dad was a big Jets fan, right? Big sports person. It wasn't healthy how big sports people we were, right? But the course itself is the content. That's the playbook, right? That's how you learn. That's all the content is there. But the value added proposition is this study group, is that community of being among other business owners that are different. A lot of us are real estate investors also, but we also have other businesses, and really taking that business to the next level. How do you make sure that you are taking that accountability? You're learning, you're seeing the content, but if you're showing up weekly, you're making sure that you're learning from one another. with the goal of taking action. Oh, Jay, you said you want to do business automation. Okay, how have you documented those processes? Have you put those things in place, right? One thing I see about working in both the private sector, government sector, and growing up with entrepreneurs and working as an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs act like they don't need training. Like I just never, in Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, he talks about that 7th habit of sharpening the saw, meaning increasing your skills. And in government and in private sector, we do that all the time, right? But on the entrepreneur side, oh, we're just going to work harder. We're going to just grind it out, right? No systems. And we usually are strong in one area. We have a design, but when you have competencies, really what the program does is say, okay, what are the competencies, or fancy HR word, what are the skills needed for a person or someone to build a successful business? Some people could be good at the people skills. Some people may be great at the automation. Some people may be good at the finances, but very rarely are you good in all of them. But when you're starting out, you at least need to identify what are the skills that you need to have a successful business. And that's what this course does, along with the community and the study groups and the mastermind, with the ability for us to do better. A rising tide lifts all boats, so to speak, right? So that's my contact information. I'm going to put my digital card also in the chat, but I would love to hear your comments, questions. I'm going to stop share.
Wonderful. I have a question. Could you go into, how long are the meetings that you have or the weekly meetings, number one, and is there a topic each week that you focus on, number two, and is it, I guess it mirrors the courses, or how does that work?
Exactly. You have to have the course in order to participate with the study group. So the study group, where the way it works is we meet 1 hour, because entrepreneurs don't have time. So it's 1 hour once a week. The goal is that you're watching probably about 1.5 hours to 2 hours of content, right, from the class. Like tonight, we have a class tonight, and we are finishing up Drive for Development, right, out of that course. And really what it does is it allows, you know what, I'm going to share my screen and just show you the back office of the program as well, in terms of what we're looking at. That's an excellent question. And yes, to your point, what it does is we follow a system. The system is the education, right? And this is how, can you guys see my screen?
Nope. Can you go ahead?
Okay. Let me make sure. Yeah, but to answer your question, it's 1 hour weekly, and it follows the content of the course, right? Because we're supposed to watch the course and then bring what you bought from the course. We're not reteaching the course. The class is the class, and it's taught by skilled instructors, but we're not reteaching it. All right, what did you learn from the course? And what are you going to do with what you learned, right? Spoken like a true executive, right? So this is the back office, so to speak, the education, the course library on the profits. So this is how it's set up. So I talked about, and you guys can see this now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So integrated business growth, right? That is taught by Mark J. Kohler. And just a little bit about, I'm going to play a little bit from, just so you know who he is. And again, please Google him so you get to see who he is. But he is the accountant, he's the CPA and attorney that is teaching on integrated business systems. Let me make sure you can hear this.
So hard to develop a class that's really unique to the P.R.O.F.I.T.S curriculum. I've taught other classes on tax and legal and asset protection, and privacy and all those things, but this was a chance for me to teach teach what I do every day as a business owner myself. And so what I wanted to accomplish in this class was really taking the 3 plans that a business owner should be using on a regular basis. That is of a business plan, putting together maybe a new business product or service as part of a successful business owner. Maybe you're a brand new business owner or entrepreneur. How do I build a business plan? And then the byproduct of that is a marketing plan and a strategic plan. Those 2 tools really are what go with you everywhere. I want them on your nightstand at night. Those plans are what help you execute and integrate all the pieces and parts of a successful business. And that's the real theme. That's the majority of the class, is bringing it all together in an integrated way. The first one to me is in the strategic plan arena of when you're executing all this, is to not put too much pressure on your business too early on in the process. For example, your business may not be ready for you to take that biggest salary you hope, the profits that you want to take out. And it's kind of a reality check in my class when I say, hey, entrepreneurship's okay. Entrepreneurship is incredible. It's a super opportunity, but you can't give up stability in your life and sometimes jump both feet in at once. Let's keep some stability. If you're in a relationship with a significant other and one of you has the day job and allows you some flexibility and freedom with a safety net, better yet. But if you're on your own and you're providing your own financial wherewithal, quitting your job could be the worst thing you could do. And some people think, oh, I'm going to just go all in. I'm going to start a small business. I've got this great idea. Oh, let's keep some stability. Your business needs a chance to grow and mature and be ready for you, so that we can give you the salary and the compensation you deserve without suffocating the business and strangling it early on. If you're on the fence on this Profits course and debating whether or not to jump in with both feet, let me tell you, it is too risky not to. This course will help protect you against the uncertainties of life in the future, and I can't wait to see you there.
So that is an example of one of the instructors, correct? But really the way the course is outlined, let me go back here. I want to show you actually, since, are you guys familiar with University of Phoenix?
I am not. I don't know about you, Jay or James, but no.
Yeah, I've heard of
No.
it. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's really set up for the adult learner, and it makes them look like geniuses now because they know adults have limited time and attention, right? So what happens is this Mark Carlu's course is almost 8 hours, 7 hours and 55 minutes. But if you look at the way it's designed, it's really, you watch it in segments, right? Because you might have 15 minutes. All right, let me go watch that. And you can take notes within the system, right? So let's say tonight we're going to study. We might go through, okay, we are going to go through segments 2 through 9, take away what you've done, right? What questions you have, because, okay, I'm strong in human resources, not as much in finance. We might have a person that's stronger in finance, another person that's strong in automation. So it becomes that mastermind and that study group, and you break it down. Does that make sense?
Wonderful. Hey, Karla, how long is the study groups? How long is that for?
So it's, my thing is, it's for as long as you want to stay in, right? We meet every Thursday because we should be growing our businesses, right? We might take a break or two, but it's 66 hours of content, Patrick, right? So I would love for people to have that lifetime commitment towards it, right? But we're looking at almost like a semester, 13 weeks, right? You run it, you take a break, like Labor Day weekend should in the States should be a break, right? But other than that, we should be working, on our business at all times to move it to the next level. I mean, I'm speaking a language to an executive that understands that the goal is to build your business. So I would look at it as a semester, take a break, and then restart again, and then make sure that you might want to focus on marketing for that quarter. And then we're heading into the last quarter. What are your goals and what are your priorities, right? I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I don't want to take just one last question, and then maybe James or Jay, you have a question. But is there a handout or a manual or a website where we can see what the actual courses are?
Oh, definitely. I can share.
Could you share
I
that?
can-
Could you share
yes.
maybe a link to that? I think that would be really neat.
Yes, I can make sure that you get that.
Yeah, and if you can share that in the chat, that'd be neat. I don't know, Jay, if you had any questions, because this is really a really nice get together. Do you have any questions, Jay or James, about the courses or about anything that Karla may have shared with us this evening?
I don't have anything right off the bat.
Okay. How about you, Jay? Did you have anything you wanted to any
Well,
questions? or
I
anything?
would say it's a definitely a good program. It's something which is unique, nothing of that kind seen elsewhere, and the kind of like it's very, it's in a good way it has been done. So yeah, it's a really good program though.
Yeah. Hey, Karla, could you share that link by any chance?
Oh, yes, I'm looking for, I should have
Okay,
been
cool.
ready. Yeah.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, because that's the question that comes to mind is to take a look, to be able to see what the actual courses are. And so the study group it's with you. You had the study group?
Yes, yep. I'm one of the facilitators, right? I'm not the instructor. The instructor are the people that earn $1 million in their businesses already.
Right.
But I'm there to make sure, like somebody called me, oh, Karla, you're like a cheerleader and a drill sergeant. So yes, because I do care about people's success, right? So yes, I'm there to make sure we have some structure, that we are focusing, that we leave with some goals and what are we going to do, but we're taking from the content. And when you set a time, hey, we meet every Thursday and really come to the class having watched the class, right? If you come, we're not the teachers, right? You're getting the content from them, and we're there to really make sure that we're synthesizing and going with a next step of what are we going to do with what we learned. Does that make sense?
And supporting each other, obviously supporting.
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
Really interesting. So it's kind of a course / with a mastermind kind of a mastermind group at the end on a weekly basis.
Exactly,
Love it,
exactly.
love it. Interesting.
And for Jay and James, if this is what you're looking at, there's usually a cost associated with the study group in addition to the classes, but for you attending this seminar, it would be complimentary.
Cool.
In terms of the study group.
Super.
So I just emailed myself that link.
Okay, great.
I'm gonna put that in right now.
And I am going to copy it as well. This is really neat.
And Jay, again, my mother's an intellectual, my husband, the people that have worked for me over the years, God, like I said, in his infinite wisdom. So when an intellectual tells me, oh, it's nothing out there like it, he's looked. Jay has been looking. So Jay, I take that as a great compliment, right? Because it is. I think it's a transformative program for executives and entrepreneurs really looking to move their business to the next level, right? I've been in entrepreneur programs. One of the things I learned from the P.R.O.F.I.T.S course is, just in terms of my business and my focus, looking at identifying your customer avatar, right? Let me ask you a question. If you have and they set this up in the funnel class that we went through. If you're a shoe salesperson, you have one prospect that has one pair of shoes and another prospect that has 100 pairs of shoes. Who's more likely to buy shoes from you out of those two prospects? What would you say, James?
I missed the question, sorry.
Oh, no problem. So you have your shoe salesperson, you have two prospects in front of you. One of them owns one pair of shoes and the other one owns 100 pair of shoes. Who's more likely to buy a pair of shoes from you?
person with one pair.
Now, why do you say that?
Because maybe they're looking for variety. The other guy's got plenty.
So what I learned from the course is the person that has 100 pairs of shoes is more likely to buy shoes. They like shoes, right? So again, just like I've taken other entrepreneurship courses because I want to always be better. Real estate investors, if somebody that's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, they have evidence that that's what they like. They haven't hit it yet, right? But they want it. So the one that has one pair of shoes, they're good. They don't like shoes, right? They don't need shoes, right? A lot of people would say, oh, they need shoes. No, I want the person who likes shoes. I want the person who likes to invest in themselves and develop, right? And want to move to the next level. And there should be some evidence of that. So in human resources, when we're interviewing, we call it behavioral-based interviewing, because people could talk a good game, but I'm skilled enough where I ask questions. Tell me about a time when you did this, because I need to know what you did. Because if you're like, oh, I've done this in the past and there's no struggle, there's no messiness, I know you didn't do anything, right? So speaking to someone about entrepreneurship, education, and personal development, and there's no previous history of that, they're not into it. So you're going to spend your time educating them on, oh, you really, really need this. No, I want the people that already have a demonstrated interest in improving themselves and realizing that we have limitless potential and moving to that next level. Does that make sense, James?
That totally does. Yeah.
Super,
You're
super.
a true HR.
I'm sorry, Jay?
You're a true HR.
True HR. And I think Jay will since we're heading to the top of the hour, I think maybe we'll end on that high note, unless Jay or James, you have another comment or question, and if not, then we'll end on that high note.
Yes, but
The
again,
only high note I have is I am impressed.
oh, no, intellectuals never say they're impressed. So Jay, I'm eating this up. I love it. So no, thank you. And again, I would love the opportunity to work with each of you. This course, again, it meets you where you are and helps you identify where you want to go next, right? It's not somebody just teaching at you. It's like, it's 11 instructors and 8 instructors in 11 classes actually taking you where James wants to go, where Jay wants to go, and Patrick wants to go with other people, right? It's, there's a proverb from the country of Kenya that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with others. And that's one of the most important things that this program has given me, right? And I still have, even though 30 plus years of experience on both sides, I know I have so much more to learn and grow and accomplish. So again, Patrick, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jay. It's been wonderful. Nice to meet you in person. It's really neat. I know we were chatting a few days ago. My pleasure. James, thanks for all the referrals. I really appreciate it. And with that, this has been a lot of fun. Karla, I thank you. I'm going to actually look into it as well. I know I've heard quite a bit about it, but I'm going to look at it as well. And guys, I want to thank you all. Have a wonderful evening and have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, thanks, Karla.
All right, you're welcome. My pleasure. Take care.
Very well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.